All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Dunk Talk, episode 13. My name is Dylan Haugen, and here today we are on with our co-host Hunter and special guest Justin Blanchard. So, Hunter, if you want to introduce yourself real quick, and we'll get to Justin.
Hey guys, my name's Hunter Castona from Wisconsin. I'm a 6'1" dunker. I'm obviously the co-host here, so obviously we have our special guest Justin. So we're gonna get into some different topics with him, with teams and his dunk journey and everything. So Justin, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Justin Blanchard. I'm a 6'2" dunker from Minnesota, and I go to Winona State University, and I started a club at our university specifically for dunking. So pretty excited about that.
Yes, sir. So, I've been dunking. I dunk with Justin sometimes now. Dunked quite a bit last summer, but he lives in Winona, which is like 45 minutes away from me. So, we have not had a ton of time to get together or whatever, but yeah, I went out and dunked in Winona with their club, and it was super cool. It was a super interesting thing to see, like a club made for dunking. And I think you guys were one of like the first like people to like make like a team or club or whatever. Am I right?
Well, I remember seeing uh, the Utah Dunkers group kind of before they really blew up, and thinking like, oh, like I should totally make a club at our school. But then, so I'd say they're probably the first, but they definitely inspired me to kind of start the club at our school. And then we created our page, and I noticed after we made our club that Florida State, I want to say it's Florida State, with Jacob, they made a club as well. So at least as far as I know, there's like three clubs at colleges right now.
Yeah, that's crazy. So we'll get really deep into like dunk teams and clubs and stuff. But first, we just want to start off with kind of your dunk journey. So like, how did you get into dunking? Like, what was your introduction? Who were some inspirations? Just way back.
Um, Kind of just goes back to when I first started playing basketball. I started playing basketball kind of at like an older age. I started playing at 14. No, I didn't really have any like background in athletics or anything. I just kind of like I was like 6 feet, like basically the height I am now was how tall I was at 14. So a lot of my friends were like, dude, you gotta play basketball, you gotta play basketball. So yeah, I'll give it a shot. I didn't really have like any passion for it or anything, but ended up trying it, and then I really started enjoying basketball. So I was like, like I could, see myself pursuing this as like a hobby of mine. But I remember specifically like doing some sort of layup or something in game that my coach was like, wow, you really got up in that. You probably could have dunked that. And like at 14 years old, I kind of knew like not many people are dunking at 14. So like kind of like gave me a little bit of boost of confidence. It's like, oh, well, I'm like that close and I might as well, start trying. So that's kind of like what led to the idea of like trying to land a dunk. And then I was watching a bunch of like Dunkademic stuff growing up and loved watching all that. So that definitely had like a major role. So it's kind of like what got me into dunking is like my origin story, I guess. Once I landed my first dunk, I was like 16, turning 17, going into senior year of high school. And I remember like immediately after hitting my first dunk, like that's all I wanted to do, which is like keep dunking, and see if I could like keep improving as a dunker. So
Yeah, for sure. So at that time when you're like 14, 15, 16 years old, like what did your training look like? Did you do any weight training at all, or were you just doing like basketball and
I was
dunking and
just a
stuff?
really scrawny white kid who was just jumping all the time. All I did was literally go to my basketball park and just like jump over and over and over. And I would put in like earbuds and I would kind of shoot around. I would like imagine I'm in like in-game scenarios too. Like, oh my gosh, the
Yeah.
clock's running down. There's a defender, cross him up, go for the dunk. And like that was kind of my like therapeutic way too of like clearing my head. Or like a lot of athletes, they like to like input in AirPods and just like go for a run. But then like that was my version of doing that. But anyway, yeah, so like I didn't have any like specific training. I literally just jumped every day, and that kind of was enough, I think, to give me kind of like a boost to kind of like help me become more athletic,
For sure, yeah.
increase my vertical. But then it got to a certain point where I started plateauing, and that was when I kind of got older, got to college, and that's when I kind of implemented more lifting stuff into my training. So
So did you do any like sessions with that, or is that you just playing basketball basically and then just dunking here and there?
it was pretty much just like after school, I would go to a local community center and I'd play basketball there with some of the kids, or I'd shoot around, or then I would just like try to dunk in between games or after games and stuff. And then eventually, as I kind of got older, I started going to like an outdoor court that was near my house. It was next to a cemetery, which is such a weird location to have a basketball court. Uh, but I would like just yeah, I would just kind of like I wouldn't go there with any sort of like plan. It would just be me kind of entertaining myself for a couple hours of like just trying to dunk and stuff.
Yeah.
So
When you were at that like stage or whatever, were you inspired by like more NBA guys or like professional dunkers? Did you know that professional dunking was a thing?
I loved watching Dunkademics, and there was like Jay Clark was definitely a staple up there. Chris Staples is up there. Some of the older guys too, like Young Hollywood, and just like some of the like when Dunkademics was filming from like 2008 up until like 2016, anything in between, I was just watching like their compilation videos and just watching a lot of those guys and seeing their head of the rim was very much like what my goal was. Also, early on, when I was dunking, all I cared about was vertical. I thought if like the higher my vert is, the easier any sort of dunk that I want to do would become. So like it was just vertical, vertical, vertical. That's all I cared about. And I obviously didn't have any like knowledge training, so I thought if I just jumped all the time, that's what would do it. But I mean, now that I'm much wiser and older and have a lot more experience, I know that just jumping every day is definitely not going to help your vertical at all. Jumping a lot like early on will, but not as you get a lot
Once
more
you yeah,
advanced.
once you hit a certain level, it's like, it doesn't fully help you it more. Can
No,
kind of
exactly.
hurt
But
you a
I
little bit.
also, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I just mean like it's really good when you're young, like, but once like me personally, once I hit like 35 probably, that's when it was
Mhm.
like it just started to lead to knee pain if I
No,
jumped
exactly.
too much like
Um,
that.
I will say though, Zion was definitely the one NBA guy that I was like, oh, this is so cool. Like I just love it. I
Yeah.
remember watching him when he was in high school because him and I are like the same exact age in class. I think he's a month older than me. So when I was watching him on his Balls Life clips or courtside films clips, I would just like compare myself to him and be like, dude, I want to be just like that. It's like I definitely loved watching Zion and I love the idea of becoming a Zion type guy.
Yeah, he's
So,
crazy, bro.
so kind of going back to like your early days with dunking and everything like that. Did you have any knee pain or anything like that, or were you just jumping every single day and you're kind of fine until, or did you like hit a point and then you're just like, oh, my knee pain sucks, and then you kind of had to do some training, or how did that kind of go about?
I think that is a very interesting question because there's a lot of people in the community that talk about their difficulties with having pain, whether that's like their knees or their ankles or shins or stuff like that. But I cannot recall ever having knee pain from the amount of jumping I did, which is actually kind of crazy to think about.
Even
Um,
now?
That's actually that is insane.
Now I kind of maybe do if I'm not quite smart with my warming up and stuff, just 'cause I'm getting a little older. But I make this sound like I'm super old, I'm only 23. But yeah, definitely have a little bit more wear and tear than I used to. But I remember like when I was like 19, I could just like instantly walk on the court and dunk it without having to do anything. Just like immediately just get it going. And I kind of miss that. I kind of miss that. But yeah, I didn't have much knee pain at all in the early stages of my jumping, even though I was
What do
jumping
you
all the time.
mean you miss that? You still do that half the time,
I mean,
bro.
kinda. I'm a little bit
When
slow.
I,
I'm
when
a
I
bit
dunked
more
with you in
refined,
November,
but
you
it's
literally walked in the gym and you're like, well, let's see if I can get one. I don't even
yeah,
think you had your shoes on yet, bro.
okay.
That's crazy. But yeah, that's one thing that I find like super cool about your bounce is like you can just like do the most effortless two-hander ever, bro. You don't even
Yeah.
have to you don't have to do anything. It's crazy.
hmm I really appreciate that. I do like sometimes just kind of messing around where it's like I'm kind of feeling lazy. I'll just kind of, and then I'm still able
Yeah.
to do it.
Yeah. Or like some of the first trick dunks you did or like memories around those trick dunks.
I remember like my first dunk was off the dribble. Look, I remember watching the footage maybe like 2 years after it happened. I wish I still had the clip. But like I was watching it and I was like, that is such terrible technique and form. That looks atrocious. But it was off the dribble. And then I think I started just doing like I think I two hand was next. And then I really liked off the backboard because when I throw it off the backboard, it really allows me to like jump much higher just 'cause you get like your full arm
Yeah.
swinging there.
I
So I
think the
kind of
cool
just
thing
really
about
like the
you
feeling
too
of
is like you're left-handed and left
yeah,
right.
yeah.
So that lob is just perfect, bro.
No,
It's
exactly.
so
So like
nice.
uh yeah, lobbing it made it feel like I was just getting up there. So I really liked the lob, and I kind of just stuck with that for a while. I would try windmills here and there, and I didn't like that I wasn't good at them. So then I didn't really pursue it. Which if I could go back, I would definitely change that.
Yeah.
Um, And then the 360s, I kind of was like super uncoordinated at the spinning. I would get lost in the sauce midair, so I didn't practice those either. But I just liked the idea of just like jumping high as I can and then just dunking as hard as I can. So like early on, I really wasn't into like the idea of tricks or technical dunks so much. I just like the idea of like as long as I got the most bounce in the room and I'm playing games and I'm dunking and people are like, oh whoa, look at that guy. Then I was pretty happy with it. So
Yeah,
now that I'm kind of like at a much more elite stage with my athleticism, I'm definitely trying to incorporate more technique work for sure.
yeah,
Like
for sure.
technical dunks.
So like kind of with your like earlier days too, did you ever lower him at all? Because I know you kind of said that you like didn't really do it, and I know you're kind of doing it a little bit, I see, but like what did you do any type of lower meet as a kid, like just mess around with your friends in the driveway, or did it even have to be
No,
lower meet? Did you just like lower the rim or anything like that?
no, I pretty much it never occurred to me to even lower him at all. It was like 10 feet is the standard. I'm gonna stick with 10. I was kind of closed-minded, I guess. Um, and I was kind of already at the point where I was like right on the cusp of dunking on 10 feet, so I didn't feel like lowering the rim, I guess, was necessary, if that makes sense. Um, I really love the idea of low rooming now. I think it is such a useful tool when it comes to working on technical dunks and getting the movement down. Because like I'm a physical education major, and then my roommates were exercise science majors. So I've taken a bunch of courses on like certain training and then like motor development and stuff. And I now realize that like it's just a movement. And so if you're uncoordinated the movement, the more movement you do, the better and more efficient you're going to become at it. So like using a low rim is just going to allow you to be more efficient at that movement of the dunk. Not necessarily like you need to jump super high and then do the
Yeah.
trick. So
I was actually just making a video earlier today about the law of specificity, and I think I sent it to Hunter. And I knew, I obviously, like, we all know what the law of specificity is because of John Evans and Isaiah and them.
mhm.
But, like, the way that it said it, like, on the definition was, like, so much better to me. I gotta find what it said. It says, like, the way a body responds to physical activity is very specific to that activity itself or something like that. Like I didn't really think that it was like about training. I just figured it was just about life. And then once I realized that like is this is like a literal training study, I was like, "Oh my gosh, this makes a ton more sense." I mean, it obviously makes sense to me because I've seen it like with
Mhm.
myself,
Yeah.
but the way that they put it in like the definition, like I've never looked that up. I've just like heard people talk about it. And once I looked that up, it's like it makes so much more sense. And that's why I think that we have to like push that message out a ton. Cause like if I was training a kid from like the age of 0 to 14, like I would literally have him lower him so
No,
much,
exactly.
an insane amount.
I
So,
would
you know,
also like
get your PE class on the lottery, Justin.
yeah, no, no, yeah, dude. Literally, I also too like a lot of people think when they're first learning how to dunk, like, oh, let me use like a tennis ball or like a volleyball to and just like palm it and then try to jump and dunk it, just kind of like
Yeah,
get a dunk. But in reality, you want to keep the size of the ball the same, but change the difference of the height because that's what's really going
exactly.
to impact. Because then your technique through your jump is going to translate as you increase the height of the rim. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right now I'm not low rimming. I took the rim off for the summer. I don't really have access to the hoop, and also it was getting a lot of use when we weren't using it for meetings, like outside of our meetings, it was getting a lot of use. And then let's just say the structural integrity of the hoop was kind of, declining.
Compromised. Yeah.
So yeah, we just decided to take the rim off so that way we have it still for the next semester. But no, yeah, I definitely want to start incorporating it into my training more frequently so I can get better at a lot of the
Yeah.
techniques I want to.
Yeah, and I think with you it was really cool too because I remember when we had like some of our first sessions with the Minnesota Dunk Squad, I was like trying to I always try to I don't know, I'm just like very coaching person. Like I always like try to coach people. Because even when I'm like not the best at the session, like I still like see guys and I'm like, oh, he could do this. And I just see it all the time. And so I remember at one of the sessions, I asked you to try East Bay and you like hit the bottom of the net, bro. We're
Yeah,
nowhere
no,
close.
yeah.
And then you went and you bought that low rim and you were like low rimming. And then when we were outside on like 9-8, you were like high enough to make them. And it was just like
Yeah, just
insane to
about
see like
around
the
the corner.
difference just from low rimming like a few times. So
No, exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, really, I just need to like commit to a low rim day and be okay with it. Because it's
Yeah.
like there's some days where I'm just like, man, I just want to jump really high and dunk on 10. But as long as I can yeah, be okay with doing the low rim and know that it's just gonna
Yeah.
benefit me in
You
terms
can always
of
do both too. Like you can go do 30 minutes there and then 30 minutes over
no,
there
exactly, yeah.
and
I
still
do
charge
find
it up.
though that if you go from the low rim to 10 feet, it's like holy crap, a 10 feet rim is
Yeah.
so tall.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
Yeah, but to go along with like low rimming with what people think is like they don't like failure. So like whenever they like want to try a new dunk and they just fail, they instantly just stop because they're
Yeah.
just like, well, I
Kind of like
suck
what
at
you
this. I
said
don't
with your
want to keep
windmills.
going.
no, that's
Yeah.
exactly
It's
what
like,
my mentality was early on. I totally
yeah.
agree with that.
It's like they just don't want to keep pursuing it when, I mean, you want, for me, I want to have the most dunks in my bag possible. That's
Mhm.
just like me. I know you like to jump high, dunk hard. Like that's perfectly fine. But
Yeah,
for
yeah.
me, I just want to have a big bag of dunks that I can just pull out whenever. So like whenever I try new stuff, yeah, I might look stupid, but like at the end of the day, I'm getting better regardless if I look stupid or not.
No,
And that's what
exactly.
people like don't like to do. They just like to practice what they know, which is still good. Like you should still practice what you are really good at, but at the same time, you should still like pursue other stuff. So kind of going along with that, is there any like dunks that you are looking forward to like hitting pretty soon on 10 or anything like that, or like new dunks?
I'm like right there for a 360, and I've really started to get
Okay.
because, like I said,
He was punching
practice
him on 9-8.
360
He
enough on
punched
low
like 10 of
room,
them on 9-8. So he's
and
coming real
on
soon.
9.8 that I'm like right there on 10 for 360, and I've got the coordination down a bit more just because like we've talked about, I practiced the movement enough to where it's pretty much right there. Um, East Bang, once at East Bay, I think I'm like totally content with my bag, not gonna lie.
Time to retire.
But I'm not retired, I'm not retired. But like well, then I don't know. Like a 360 East Bay would be really nuts. Would be really nuts. I don't know. You guys are doing some like I've hit Unk status to be honest. You guys are doing stuff I thought was possible
Dunk
to keep it
status is
going.
crazy.
Yeah, yeah. So
Oh my
like you
gosh.
guys are so creative with some of the dunks you guys are doing that I would be like, dang, I would never have thought of doing that. I'm more, I guess, more of a traditional where it's like the dunks that I watched as a kid were just like the East Bays, the 360 East Bays, the under both
Yeah.
maybe. Stuff that's kind of like was like big just like 10 years ago, but now it's like you've seen enough dudes do it. There's a new wave
Yeah.
of dunks that are you guys
I
are at
mean,
this point, so
yeah. I mean, that's the thing with me. I mean, Dylan's the same way. A bunch of other guys are the same way. Like, I'll just go on a rim where I can barely even just get the ball over the rim. And
yeah.
I'll just like try different moves, just be like, oh, can I do this? Can I do this? Can I do that? Like, just basically doing different movements so I can see if I
Yeah.
can do like not make a new, like create a new dunk, but just be like, oh, I remember seeing this somewhere, but I forgot about it. And now it re entered my memory. And now I can go try it on a low rim or 10 feet, whatever it is. And
Yeah.
that's why I was able to hit like what 60 new dunks last year.
That's insane. That is so many. That is so many.
Like
That how deep
it's
is that duffel bag, bro? How deep
it's
is
pretty
that
it's
thing
pretty
go?
Crazy.
deep, but
Yeah,
it's
no,
just
definitely.
like that's what I would do is just I'm pretty sure Dylan does the same thing. I know he learns a little bit more than I do, but it's like the same thing is just we just try different stuff all the time and then also we're
No,
just like,
yeah.
oh shoot, that's actually close. And then we go and try it more and more and we hit it more consistent. And then we go to
No,
10 feet and
exactly.
then we hit it.
Yeah.
So
I was
Yeah.
watching Dylan's video, his latest one actually, like when you're in North Dakota, like literally what you just dropped, like maybe an hour or two ago.
Yeah.
And you looked like it was like the fushigi. Remember the fushigi?
What is
You were
that,
taking,
bro?
you don't know what the fushigi is? Oh my gosh, it's like this 2000s toy, but it was like this metal ball and it would like be like a magician thing. But like you could like contort it around. You basically are taking the ball and just doing some crazy things that I'd never seen before. But that's what I was thinking about when I was watching you low rim
Oh, you're
dunk.
talking about the like really low rim stuff?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that
You're
was fun, bro.
doing
I
some
haven't done
crazy
that
stuff.
in
And
so
then
long.
no, yeah. And then I think too, Jordan Kilgannon, I think really exploded what people thought was possible when it comes to dunking. You know, like
Exactly,
he's
yeah.
done so many different things. Like the creativity's off the charts that I think really has like, yeah, I guess exploded what people think is possible in dunking.
Yeah, for sure. Back to what Hunter said. Hunter was talking about like standing low rim stuff. I actually recently I used to not like it. Like I used to do it like once a week, but I like didn't really enjoy it. But then I started to like do less of like just sit there and like bounce East Bay, and just like do it over and over again. I still do that actually a lot more now, like probably 2, 3 times a week. But then I also literally have times where I'm like, I'm bored and I have nothing to do. So I go outside and put it to a hoop. Like I don't even, like he said, don't even have to jump to dunk on. And I just do like random stuff. Like even if it's like I'm doing like 360 double East Bay without jumping, like I'm just practicing random stuff. And sometimes when I'm not even really like thinking and I'm just kind of sitting there, like you said, just like in flow state, just doing whatever. I like new things like click in my mind, like not even necessarily new dunks, but like new ways to like do dunks or like, things that I'm like, oh wait, this feeling on this dunk, like I haven't felt this before. So like this is probably something that I should like think about and like go do it later this week when I'm actually supposed to be dunking. So yeah, I think that standing low rim like can really, if you have the patience for it, can be like super beneficial to just like brainstorming new ideas and obviously like you said, getting more consistent with those trick dunks. So yeah.
That kind of reminds me, I have been taking a basketball lately and then just kind of like whipping it around my body, kind of like because I want to get better at behind the back or at least start attempting those. So I've kind of just
Yeah,
been messing around with that. So that kind of applies to the same concept that you're just we're talking about.
exactly. Yeah. Those like I saw you doing the medicine ball drills, like those are another really good thing. Actually Killian was talking about it at camp. Like if you just do what I just said and just go like this, go like boom, 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 and just do the same dunk over and over again on low rim, you'll actually end up like developing bad habits eventually. So you kind of have to do weighted ball stuff because you literally can't have bad habits with the weighted ball. Like if you're going like if you're doing a transfer like this with a weighted ball, it's just
Mhm.
gonna fall like because you have your hand on the side of the ball and it needs to be under it. So yeah, like just stuff like that. Like
That's
you
an interesting point to make. I never really thought about that with the weighted ball. The idea for me though was like if I can take the weighted ball and practice the movement with a heavier ball, then I'm gonna get faster and more efficient at that movement. So like I could like for example for like a windmill, if I just practice like the windmill, I can like if I take a basketball, I can just whip it around and be
yeah.
much faster and
Yeah,
powerful.
and that's completely true. You're right. That's another great reason to use weighted ball. But then, yeah, there's like two reasons to use it, which is then the basketball feels easy, but also
Mhm.
like it helps you get rid of bad habits
That's an
because you
interesting
have to
comment.
have your hand under the ball.
I never would have thought of that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, because here's the ball that I use. So this is a 3 pound ball, same men's
Okay.
size ball. Bought it at like I think I bought it at Dick's or something. And the reason why I bought it is
Yeah, I got the
actually because I
same
was
one.
talking to Jordan Kilgannon and I was trying to hit behind the back, and I was just like, why am I losing the ball every single time? And then he told me to go get a weighted ball. And so I started doing it with the weighted ball, and instantly I found out what I was doing. I wasn't getting my hand underneath the ball enough. So that weighted ball, you literally have to get underneath it, otherwise it's
Mhm.
just gonna fall out. So because with the regular size, obviously it's lighter, so it's you don't feel the difference. But when you have a 3 pound ball, you can actually feel the difference of it actually getting around and getting up. So if you don't have it underneath, you're not gonna actually get it up. So I was really helpful. He's like, I figured that on my own. Like he didn't have anybody to help him, so like I'm obviously very grateful for that. My behind the back technique's not still not the best, but I mean this thing definitely does help, and I use it. I should use it way more than I do, but I mean when I use it, I find a lot of different flaws that I didn't think like would happen with a regular ball. So
Yeah, and what Kilgannon said at camp was like a big reminder to me because I haven't been using it that much either. Like I have the exact same one, but I'm just not consistent with using it, like you said, and I need to do it more. So
Now I remember when I went to camp in 2022, Isaiah Rivera was kind of given the same spiel where he was talking about like you need to keep your hand under the ball as opposed to on the side because you will lose it. So it's interesting. I guess I never made the correlation that like the weighted ball is what's going to keep it on the bottom or your hand's going to be on the bottom of the ball. So I didn't know that. That's actually really cool.
yeah. So back, you said I remember you went to dunk camp in 2022. I don't think I talked to you once, but I was there.
Yeah.
Um, so what was your dunk camp experience like? Like what encouraged you to go? What was it? Just what was it like?
I remember seeing it and thinking like, oh man, that's cool. A lot of cool guys that like have the same weird niche hobby. Well, I wouldn't say weird, but like the niche hobby that I have. It just sounds like a really cool idea. And then my experience was awesome. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was like literally like the most ambitious crossover kind of thing where like you're just seeing everybody that you follow that has the same interest and then you get to meet them in person and all hang out. The atmosphere is super supportive, super electric. It's really like nothing else. And then because of that, you get this wave of like adrenaline and just everybody's just smashing PRs and just going off. And it was really cool. It was such an amazing experience. It was way more in depth than I thought it was going to be because I remember like they really had it structured well. Maybe not so much when they were doing like the testing at the beginning and end and stuff, but like they had a set itinerary and they really stuck to it. And then they had other things that I didn't think about that they would have at a dunk camp. Like the one guy kind of giving you like a motivational speech, before
Field corn.
you tackle the day. Yeah, no, I thought that was so sick. And then like the messages that he gave us, like those still stick with me. Like, yeah, field corn, bro. That was so funny to me.
Hunter
Um,
never got to experience field corn.
yeah, this guy talked about being field corn. You don't want to be a house plant. It's pampered. You want to be field corn because field corn can go anywhere. Doesn't need to
Literally
be.
everyone that went to 2022 camp still talks about that, bro.
It was amazing. Yeah, it was funny. And then being able to compete in the 10-foot contest that was really cool. I kind of knew going in like, yeah, my bag's not as deep as everybody else. That's okay though. I'm just here for a good time. And it was really cool to be a part of the contest and experience that. And then I remember like I was so oh yeah, another thing they talked about was like the symptoms of being nervous and the symptoms of being excited are the
I
same
still
exact.
remember that speech, bro.
So yeah, the
That was sick.
mentality switch of like, no, I'm not nervous. I'm excited. Like I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to participate. So I remember like I was literally the first one up for our 10-foot contest. And I turned to everybody and I'm like, guys, I'm so excited. And then I went and did my dunk, and then it was just so funny. And then I dapped up everybody after because I was still kind of nervous. I literally went around and dapped up everybody and went to my spot. So it was really cool. I really enjoyed it.
That's hilarious, bro.
I would recommend it for anybody who's interested in dunking as well. Because you have so many
Anyone
resources.
who can afford it. Anyone
Huh?
who can
Yeah.
afford it. Anyone who can afford it.
Yeah, yeah,
Definitely
yeah,
come.
yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, it was super cool. I wish I did not know that there was anyone else from Minnesota, bro. Because I remember going
Well,
through the
when somebody said
intros.
Minnesota, my ears perked up and I was like, what? Like I wasn't
Yeah.
expecting that. I
No,
think
yeah, like in the if you guys don't know, we do like intros at dunk camp, like right at the start, like everyone like pitches in and like says their name, their social media, because sometimes we don't recognize each other. Um, and then where they're from. And I was literally listening the entire time for Minnesota, and I swear I did not hear a single one, but I must have just been like not paying attention, bro. I do just
I
the only thing I remember from that intro is like I was so scared to just talk in front of everyone.
yeah,
I was
it was
like,
kind of intimidating because
yeah,
I didn't
it's
like
like
I recognized
70 people, bro.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
So many
recognized a
guys.
couple faces and then a couple people's like social medias when they said them.
Yeah.
But I was still kind of soaking it all in a little bit. So yeah, I was kind of nervous too to like be like, yeah, it's me. But
Yeah.
yeah, when I heard Minnesota, I kind of was like, huh, what? I wasn't expecting another Minnesota. So yeah.
Yeah, kind of a funny story from last year's camp is obviously if nobody knew, nobody actually really knew me. I talked to Dylan like a little bit, but knew nobody from Wisconsin
I didn't even
at all.
recognize him. I don't know what
Really,
he's
Yeah,
really.
talking
he
about.
nobody even recognized me, even if I did talk to him. But to go along with like the intros and stuff, I don't remember hearing Wisconsin like at all. But then
Really?
all of a sudden we get to the 10-foot contest, and there was 4 finalists. I was one of them. I had a guy named JJ, which is on my dunk team, and I had a guy named CJ, which is on my dunk team. So three out
Wow.
of the 4 people that were in the 10-foot contest were from Wisconsin,
That's
and we
awesome.
didn't know that at the time. And John,
And Jeff was too, and he didn't know that
yeah,
either.
yeah, he was.
It's
I think he was like
crazy.
hurt with his wrist or something. But John Evans comes up and talks. He's just like, "So where's everybody from? Like whatever." And then I'm like, "Wisconsin, JJ, Wisconsin, CJ, Wisconsin." You guys are like all from Wisconsin. We're like, "Yeah, I guess so." And we didn't know that at all.
That's
And
awesome.
that's basically kind of how we started our dunk team because everybody else was like kind of talking about that after in the group chat after camp, and then obviously during the summer we kind of all went our separate ways and had the team. So obviously we can kind of get into that now. So
Yeah, let's do it.
Dylan, if you want to get that started.
Yeah, so I know you talked about Utah, the Utah dunk squad. I remember Utah dunk camp 2023 was in June, and I think that I kind of started to like organize the Minnesota dunk squad in August. It's like right after. So I'm 99% sure that WSU was around for like quite a while before that. Am I right? Do you remember like when WSU started?
Okay. So we had this year, which was a full year. Okay, okay. When I tried making the club, it was a whole process. It was such a process. It
You
took
had to like
forever
apply
to
and
get
stuff.
finalized.
Yeah.
Because we had to make a whole constitution and stuff. I had a hard time getting like an official 10 people to put down. and all that. It was just a lot to like really kind of like officially put it together. But
Mhm.
we had this whole year, and then I think spring of last year was when it was like official. If we
So it
did,
was like 2023-ish.
yeah, or 2022 maybe.
Yeah, I'll look on the Instagram. Yeah,
Why
Hunter, you can
am I
take
not
it
getting
up.
the dates? Because I really don't remember. The Instagram page maybe was after the first semester. Also, I don't have access to that account, which really bugs me.
It's 20, it says 2023 in here.
Was the
So,
first post.
first post
Then
was
the club was a
2023.
semester before that because we didn't have it for the spring semester.
And that was like March of 2023. So maybe like late 2022.
Yeah,
But
okay.
yeah,
Yeah, that sounds about right.
you guys were definitely one of the first. I know that there might have been club in like Australia, not a club, but like a team in like Australia. I don't know how long
Oh, maybe.
Melbourne's been along, but
Mhm.
been around, but they've been around for quite a while, it feels like. So like what inspired you to like start the club or whatever?
Our role after like going to Dunk Camp 2022, and the whole like World Dunk Association and all that, and then kind of them like really promoting the idea of like building your brand as a dunker and like uh a good like there's a couple different paths and they kind of went over them about like how you can become a professional dunker and really make it your like this is my career, this is what my life is. Um, they talked about like the idea of like building your brand and making social media and stuff, but like the WDA talked about also like just promoting dunking as a sport. And so the whole idea of the club was kind of like just kind of promoting dunking as a sport and kind of getting more people involved in the community. Because like I didn't say it when you guys wrapped up the last thing, but like dunk camp is really the foundation of like the dunking community. So everybody
Sure,
like
yeah.
comes together. And then to your point, Hunter, like the three Wisconsin people in the finals, like it brought you guys together and now you guys are like all friends and you guys dunk on the same dunk group. But anyway, yeah, so like the idea behind the club was to promote the sport of dunking. And then literally just like my roommate's friend was like, you should make a club for dunking. I was like, you know what, that's a great idea. And then just kind of went with it. So it wasn't like too crazy. But yeah, the idea I guess the main idea though was to promote the sport of dunking.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a great idea and that I think that we'll get into like Minnesota dunk squad now,
Mhm.
but I think when I was at camp in 2023, I saw the Utah Dunkers. We met them at the show, and
Mhm.
obviously it's like these guys are like 4 or 5 guys. I don't remember how many were there, but it's like these are guys that literally get to dunk together every single weekend.
Oh yeah.
And like being at dunk camp, the first year I didn't really like experience like the community aspect of it just because I didn't I just didn't like socialize very much.
Yeah, yeah.
I just kind of stayed to myself because I was, you know, the youngest person there, I guess. That was probably
Mhm.
most of it. But then coming back to 2023, like I knew almost everyone and I actually was like a decent dunker at that point. And so I was like talking to all these guys and like I'm kind of feeling like that community and it really pushes you to like be better, you know? And then once I got back, I was like, well, bro, I just experienced like the biggest community ever. And now I'm seeing guys like Winona and Utah and like all these people like kind of starting to come up with dunk groups. And there's a lot of talk about it in like the dunk camp. Like we have like a group chat, you know? And then I was like, I don't think I can go another year with zero group sessions because now I'm like actually experiencing like what it's like to like be in community. And
Mhm.
there's no shot that I can just like continue just dunking by myself for another year. And so the only person that I knew that lived in Minnesota was you and Jason. And so I texted both of you and I was like, um, like what would you guys think about like having a team or whatever? And obviously you were both, very down. So then it was like, okay, we got 3 people. Um, at the time we were like very, very low compared to the other dunk groups, like just us three. We're obviously really good, but like when you looked at like Utah at the time, like we were in rough shape, bro. And I
Yeah,
was terrible at the
Utah was
time
killing it
too.
out of the gate, to be
Yeah.
honest.
And then, SoCal came in and they got like all
First
of
time.
LA, which is insane.
Yeah, yeah.
And all these dunk groups popping up and we just have like us three. That was like the start. And then I started to like hear about more guys. Like Jason came in, so that was really cool to have like one of the older guys come in. We had a 51-year-old dunking with us. That's so sick. And then we had, and then one day Jason randomly texted me and he's like, "Hey, I have this guy that was interested in joining." And I was like, "Okay." And I was like, probably just gonna like say like, "Yeah, because there's been quite a few times over the past year where we've gotten guys that are like, can we come dunk with you?" And I'm like, yes, but not at this session because this session I'm like trying to make really good. And I feel bad doing it, but at the same time, if I'm having Hunter drive 5.5 hours to come here, I'm not gonna have like a bunch of random people there. Like when we
No,
like
I get
are
it. You kind
paying
of
for the
want
gym.
to,
And
yeah,
so
yeah.
I was like kind of let me like see him basically. I was like, let me see some of his dunks. And he sends me Gideon's account. And I was like, what? Like, who is this dude? How is this
Dude, Gideon
possible?
still boggles my mind, and I've known him for
No,
a
and he's
while now.
gotten so much better in the past year too.
Yeah, no,
And
he's
so,
insane.
to be honest, bro, Gideon's my favorite dunker in the world. Like I was saying, Gideon's the best dunker in the entire world. No, but it's like I just saw him for the first time, and it was like this dude's 5'9", like insanely short. He doesn't appear to have super long arms, and he's jumping like 46, 47 inches. And so like I was like so confused because his jump technique did not look like super great, and it's gotten actually a lot better since then, which I just realized recently. But it was like, who is this dude? But immediately I was like, yes, like he can obviously be in the group. So we organized our first session at the U of M. I had to
Mhm.
sneak in the U of M
I
to
remember
dunk.
this.
And yeah, we like went through like these diving doors and stuff. It was crazy. But yeah, we got into this gym and we had our first session. And Justin, can you remind me who it was? I think it was me, you,
It was
Jason,
me,
Gideon.
you, J. Rob, Jason, and Gideon. I don't think Johan was there yet.
No, yeah, but then we had a second session and Johan was there.
Yeah.
And then it was a while for our next one. We had like some more random sessions in there. But yeah, it was like the first session was just crazy. Because I got to see like all of you and like talk to all of you, and I had never really seen any of you, which was wild. So yeah, I mean, seeing Gideon in person was insane. Seeing a 52-year-old dunk in person was insane. So it was just like seeing all these guys that like I had known about but had never dunked with was just really cool. So
I
yeah,
think
if you wanna,
the first session we had, I was like, wow, we kind of have like a diverse group of people. Like to your point,
oh
we
yeah,
have
we had
52-year-old,
like the
52-year-old dunker,
craziest group.
bro, and then like you who's like 16 doing
I was
crazy.
15, bro.
Yeah, yeah. So and then I just out of the gate, we just had like such a mosh posh of people, which I thought was
Yeah,
really
it was
cool and
crazy.
added character to our group of dunkers. I thought that was really cool when like that was something I
Yeah.
noticed.
We definitely weren't the best group, but I think
Yeah,
that
yeah,
because we were like so diverse and like had like so much random stuff going on,
yeah, yeah,
that's why we were able to we're the most followed dunk group on social
yeah,
media.
yeah, yeah.
Partially because I post the most out of all the dunk groups, but
You know
also
the
because
owner.
of
You know
that,
the
bro.
owner.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, it was super cool. And then around that time, I think Hunter, you started your own dunk group. So if you want to kind of talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so obviously, kind of said like when I was at camp, kind of figured out that there were actually a couple guys from Wisconsin that came to the Utah camp that I had no clue about. Actually, JJ, he went to school like 10 minutes away from my house, and I didn't even know who he was at all.
That's
And I
crazy.
played in the same I played the same like fall league, summer ball or sorry, fall league, basketball league and stuff like that. And I didn't exactly know who he was either. And it was just kind of crazy to kind of figure that out. And I was just like, oh shoot, we can kind of like make our own team, and stuff like that. And we kind of figured out that we were all pretty close. I think Jeff is the furthest, which is like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours away. But everybody else is like within like 30 minutes away. Um, so we first started going to Nolan's college, which is UWM. Um, and we had, I think we had 3 sessions there. I think 2 over the summer. The first one we had was with everybody. Second one, I wasn't able to come. And then I think we had another one, but I think it was just me and Nolan. And then we kind of had a bunch of different sporadic ones like throughout the year, leading into 2024, which we haven't since our first session. We haven't had a full session
Oh,
since then,
man.
which is kind of crazy. Which we're trying to actually get one before dunk camp, which I think might actually happen. So we basically had the same group the whole time. So it's me, JJ, CJ, Nolan, Jeffrey. That was like the five main guys that we had. And then later on, I knew this kid like a year before our dunk group, and like he was barely dunking. I actually was at the gym and I was like teaching him how to do a lob because I saw him he was struggling. So I taught him how to do a lob, and all of a sudden I saw him like months later, and like he was like dunking consistently. I was like, dang, dude, what this kid kind of went off or whatever. And then all of a sudden he like sent me like he started windmilling and stuff. I was like, oh shoot. And then all of a sudden I was just like, you know what? Let's take him out to a session. So we had a session. I think the only person that wasn't there was Nolan and CJ, I believe.
This is in February.
And no, this was December.
Let me check. I was literally just looking at the Instagram.
This was in
Oh yeah, I
December.
think you guys just don't ever post. Yeah,
Yeah,
December
no.
16th.
Yeah. It was December, and I think he hit like I think it was like 8 windmills or something. And the week before that, he hit I think like two for his first time ever. So he hit 8 windmills. I think he hit like a 360, almost hit a 360 windmill, and he's also 16 as well. So he kind of is a new addition. I dunked with him I think one other time as well,
Yeah, I
maybe
was scared
two.
for a while.
Um,
I was getting
yeah,
scared. I thought he was gonna pass me,
Dylan,
bro.
yeah, Dylan was texting me. He's just like, dude, he's kind of going off. He might pass me. I'm kind of scared.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But he's plays a lot of basketball. But he's been doing his own training, so he writes his own training, which is pretty cool. Um, but basketball again with Dylan, he kind of I don't know if he had any injuries or anything, but that was just slowing his dunk progression down. Um, and yeah, so I don't think he's going to be at camp. But I think he's going to have a session with us pretty soon here, which might be the full session. But yeah, so we have 6 guys now. I mean, if obviously I don't want to be dunking with more than probably that, but I mean, if we get other guys, I mean, I would gladly have them come to a session. Like I said, if I can dunk with somebody every single week, I want to. Like that's just the nature of it. It's just group sessions are better than a solo session, no matter what. Um, but it just sucks that a lot of the guys are a little bit further away, and then Jeff and Nolan are in college, so Jeff's actually in Michigan for college, so like
For
he couldn't dunk
volleyball,
with
yeah.
us. Yeah, he couldn't dunk with us like at all for during the school year. Nolan is here and there. He's in a basketball league, so he's always basically hurting at that point because he's jumping and playing basketball, so he's hurting. JJ was kind of dealing with some stuff, and then CJ, I think he did something with his hamstring, but he's actually looking
Yeah.
really good. Like we just had a 9 foot session with me, Nolan, and CJ this past weekend, and CJ's looking really good again, which is very exciting. But I mean, it's just all the dunk teams coming together. I mean, it's just been so cool to watch, and just the progression everybody's had, and just the fun that we had. And I don't know if anybody knows, but we kind of had some competitions going on for a little bit in the early stages. Like we had dunk contests against all the teams in the states,
Oh, the
and
National
that,
Dunk League, was
I
it?
remember that. I remember that.
yeah,
NDL,
that,
yeah.
that was pretty fun. So we had a bunch of stuff like that. So um, I would like to see that kind of happen again because that was pretty fun. Just kind of get out of our comfort zones a little bit. Um, but I mean, it was just kind of cool to just compete with other teams. Like it's just kind of cool to see that. And then obviously, one of our goals was to kind of do it in person, which is kind of hard just because again, everybody just has jobs, school, whatever, and then obviously money plays a big factor into that with flights and timing and everything. So it's kind of hard to do it in person. So that's why we kind of did it over online. But I mean, for what it was that we had, I mean, it was a great time. We had a costume one, which was pretty fun.
The
We
costume
had
one
some
was sick. I
windmills.
love that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you do it?
I
I
think I
forgot
was
if you did you do
Spider-Man.
Spider Man?
Spider-Man.
Yeah, you're
Yeah, yeah.
Spider Man.
Because
I think
first of all, that suit was way too tight, man. That suit was just revealing. I also felt really weird walking on campus wearing that thing. But yeah, I bought it because my friend had one. I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I got it because I think every kid that like watches basketball online sees like the professor videos and then like Jordan Kilgannon I think did a Spider-Man video and just like it's like ah dude I want to do that. So yeah, that was kind of I did
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, so I mean, since then, tons of groups have popped up. I'm looking at Instagram right now, and I'm seeing obviously Utah was one of the first ones. Melbourne was one of the first ones. By the way, Melbourne was established in 2022, so they were
Okay.
one of the first ones too.
Wait, when in
And then
2022? Because as we were talking about this, it
late,
kind of
late,
talking.
like really, really close to yours.
Okay.
If their posts are the same time, I don't know. But then I'm also looking back now, and I'm seeing this one called the Gator Dunkers, which was
Is that
founded in
Florida?
2016 at the U of Florida.
No
And
way, really? That's
it's like
crazy.
Isaiah's in here. It's like a dunk group from 2016. So I didn't even know about this,
I didn't know
but
about
I'm
that.
seeing a bunch of
Yeah,
dunkers. It's
no
actually
clue.
crazy. I didn't even know that, but maybe I think dunk groups have actually been around for a long time, but like we were just introduced to them. So I would love to talk to some people, but I didn't know if there was a thing in Florida. Because I know like Kilgannon went down there, and that's kind of where dunk camp started. Andy talked about it a bit this year. But yeah, I mean, since then we've got Minnesota, Denver, SoCal, CenCal, Wisconsin, Florida, North Carolina, Missouri, Utah, Melbourne, WSU, Florida State, like so many, bro. So it's crazy. I mean, it really all started. I think Utah kind of inspired the huge spike, but then like the more that came out, the more people I think realized like kind of
Actually,
what I said, the community that like you want to have community.
so I remember this is you guys jogged my memory as we talked about it. So I remember it was Utah State Bunkers, and then they rebranded. It was like all of a sudden they weren't
Yeah, they
Utah State
rebranded recently.
affiliated.
Yeah,
They were just like we're Utah Dunkers. So they went through the school, and that's how they kind of started their whole thing.
yeah, they were
And I
originally a
remember
club. I forgot
immediately
about
after
that.
camp, I was like, all these groups started popping up, and then I realized too that like all the logos look the same because I'm blanking
Hiram
on.
makes them.
Yeah, he made our logo for Winona State. I don't remember how that ended up coming to be. I think I asked him if he could make one.
Yeah,
But
I
then
asked him
I
if he could make
realized like
ours.
new group, new group, new group, and they all have the same logos, and it was immediately after camp, and I thought that was really funny. So I was like, oh, I
Yeah,
wonder if at camp if something happened where they were like, okay, let's all get these groups together.
it kind of did, but not really. Like I think we all kind of just wanted it to happen, and
Okay.
then it just like slowly it was just kind of
It
like
almost
one
felt
one
planned because
popped
it
up.
felt like it was one right
It
after.
looked like it was planned, bro. It was
Yeah,
actually crazy. Now that I think about it, it probably did look like it to just like some random person, but yeah, it was not planned at all. It just kind of happened
That's
because
interesting.
we all wanted it, obviously. But yeah, I mean, what was kind of your thoughts on like being obviously a part of Winona, but then also being a part of Minnesota at the same time?
It was interesting because
The
like for the
traitor.
contest part, I wasn't really quite sure if I was allowed to like submit my own clip for both, but I think they were okay with it. But I thought it was cool to be a part of two different groups at once. I kind of
Yeah,
like the idea too that like for the most part, I like wasn't in charge, I guess, of the Winona State group. But then I got to be more of like a member of Minnesota Dunkers, not necessarily like in charge. But
yeah,
the club is really cool though because when I made it, I wanted to make it like as inclusive as possible for our school because the
more people you can get interested, the better.
no
It's
exactly.
crazy.
Well, like our I think there's three girls for every guy at our school. So first of all, there's just a lot more women involved
The
on
heck?
campus. Yeah. Then
It's
guys.
weird.
It is a bit well, there's a lot of nursing and teaching, like their programs here are really good. But anyway, so with that, I wanted to appeal to like literally any sort of person that I possibly could to get as many people to join. And then I also made it pretty much like an open house kind of venue. So like anytime we had a meeting, it was just like this is the time and place we're going to be at. Anybody can walk in and be a part of it. You don't even have to be able to dunk. You can just come watch or whatever. But getting people through the door was like the hardest part, I think. Um, like
Yeah,
I would
because
always like
it's yeah,
recruit
just
people
like
and
we
be
were
like,
talking
hey,
about earlier.
yeah,
Just like we were
you should
talking about
join dunk
earlier.
club. And they're like, well, I can't dunk. And then it's like, dude, I don't care if you can dunk. We have a below room you can use and
Yeah.
like that kind of thing. So but yeah, no, it's been great getting to work with people. Like seeing people progress is like probably the coolest part. Or like people hitting their
It's
first
so
shot.
fun, bro.
Seeing people hit their
And
first dunk
that's
is so sick. Like I really love that so much.
yeah,
It's really interesting too how like they'll show me kind of like their attempt, and then I make one or two minor changes, and then it's like instantly they have like 4 inches like
exactly,
immediately,
bro. That's
and it's
that's one of the
really
really
cool.
cool things with working with people that are like athletic but just have terrible jump technique, basically.
Yeah,
You
no,
just fix like
exactly.
one thing and like vert goes up so
Well, then
much,
too,
bro.
like it builds their confidence like instantly, and then they're like cheesing because they're like, "Oh wow, I didn't know I could do that." And then just like I
Also,
think
yeah,
it tells them to like
intent goes up at the
pursue
same
it. Yeah,
time.
no, exactly. Um, and then like a lot of people that have been involved with the club, like at first they're hesitant, and by the end of it, they're like, "Oh, that was really fun and cool. I'm gonna have to come back." And then we've kind of gotten a lot of people to keep showing up, which is really awesome. And then like a lot of them will like send me like their progress that they've been making over the summer and stuff. So it's just cool to see like
That's
that impact.
sick, dude.
Yeah. And I
That's really
think
cool.
in terms of people that we've had like attend the meetings, we probably had like 50 different people attend at least once. So that's like 50 people
Wow.
that walked into the gym were like, yeah, I'll give dunk
Wow,
a
bro.
try. So I think that's sick. I think that's really cool. Especially in like a
Yeah.
small town school setting. So
Yeah.
That is crazy. That's something that's really cool about the groups, I think, is like we can kind of get more people involved. I haven't had a ton of people ask to like come to sessions recently, but
mhm.
like especially this summer, like if we next time we have a session, I just want to get as many people as possible now. Like if it just sucks because a few times that like new people have like asked to come, it's just been like the worst possible time, basically. Where it's like
Yeah.
I'm like paying to be at this gym and I just like want everything to go well. And then it's like
Mhm.
last minute, like all these random people. Um, but yeah,
Another
it's
thing too,
really
sorry.
cool. No, I was
Um,
just saying it's really cool.
I like that we were able to get a couple girls to be involved in the low rim dunking on campus. I think that was really cool. We got two
Sure, yeah.
girls that dunk on each other, which I think is like the funniest thing, dude. That was like I gotta eat some popcorn and watch this kind of thing. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's sick. Yeah, it's been really fun. Like I guess I'm technically like the founder of Minnesota Dunkers
I
or
would say so.
whatever, but at the same time, like I feel like it's really like all of our thing. Like it's not like I'm like leading the group. I'm just like the guy that manages the social media, and I think that that's like the coolest part of it is it's literally just like a group. Like it's not like a oh I'm coaching you guys. Well, I do a bit of
Actually,
coaching,
I
but
really much agree with that, as well as like for our club. Really, I like when we make a decision on something we want to do or where we want to head in a certain direction, I'll like ask everybody in the group chat, like, okay, what do you guys think? Like, let's kind of like discuss
exactly.
our options and situation, and then we'll make like a cohesive decision. And I've noticed that's something that you do with the Minnesota Dunkers as well. So,
Yeah, I mean, I just again like it's all about community, and I don't want to like
mhm.
just do what I want to do for
No,
me. Like
exactly.
if nobody else wants to do like what I want to do, then there's really no point. So yeah, it's been really fun like setting up the group. And then I mean some notable moments have obviously been like first session, we got, a bunch of cool people to show up and then we've just slowly like added more people. Some of the crazier ones were Will Swigum, I think that's how you say his name. I don't know. I
Will
want to have him on.
Swiggle, he's
I want to have him on here soon. But yeah, he's crazy. Like 360 East Bay is just effortless for him. Under bolt is insane. And then we obviously got Hunter to like drive all the way out here. So Hunter kind of got to experience a little bit of the group, not much. Because at that point Jason had left and you were pretty busy. But
yeah.
yeah, and then we had Gideon's cousin, Sage, absolute monster, bro. Haven't talked to him much since he dunked with us, but I need to see him at another session, bro. He's one of the
Dude, for
just
real.
freakiest dunkers I've ever seen.
Dude,
He could
he
be
literally had him.
it's
We had
crazy,
him
bro.
at the session, and we're like me. Obviously, me and Dylan. Me and Dylan are like kind of like the coaching type of people. Like we just like see the dunker, and then we're just like, oh yeah, they can do that. So me and Dylan were just both like, yeah, he can definitely East Bay because he's punching windmills like effortlessly,
His
and we're
head
just
was
like,
at the
yeah,
rim, bro. It was
yeah,
ridiculous.
literally. And he did this like 360 cuff windmill or whatever. I don't even know what it was, and he
But it
punched.
was
I'm
like
just like,
from the
dude,
left
what?
side, bro. It didn't make any
Yes,
sense.
and then me and
Never
Dylan are just
seen
like, you
something like
have to
that.
try Eastbane. And then goes up, he bottom rims it. He's like, I'm not doing that again because I got rim stuff. I'm like, what do you mean? You've never done the Eastbane before and you just got bottom rimmed? for your
That's
first time
insane.
ever. You never even attempted the motion
It
before.
was like mid rim, bro. It wasn't even bottom. Like he could have
Yes.
made that attempt if he was
That's
Yeah.
just if his
crazy.
And
timing
he
was different.
just like right after that, he had like five more jumps and he just stopped. I'm just like, bro, what? Like you
Yeah,
could have just had a way crazier session, but
I talked to Gideon about it, and he had like worked out the day before or something, so he was like super sore, which makes it even crazier actually. But yeah, I mean, it was just really unfortunate because he was like a super last minute call. Gideon was just like, "Yo, do you want me to bring my cousin?" And I was like, "Yeah," because we had nobody coming to that session.
Yeah.
And I talked to Gideon and Sage about it, and they both said that like he wanted to come to more sessions, but I just haven't really asked him much. I might ask him about this weekend because we might do something this weekend.
I know,
I
yeah, yeah. I
really want to see him
unfortunately
again.
can't come, bro.
Yeah,
I only got
yeah,
Monday and Wednesday. Those are the only 2 days I'm
yeah.
available. So
But yeah, it's been super cool to see like the group improve. Like, you know, I myself have improved a ton since the first session. First session, the best dunk I did was a two-hander, and now like,
it's actually
you know, I'm
absurd. Actually
like
absurd.
I actually don't know what the heck happened, bro. Like last year, like I was doing one-handers, two-handers, like barely windmilling, and then this year it was like East Bay is every other session, windmills
Did
as a
you,
warm-up
I
dunk.
don't
It's
remember, did you
wild.
play basketball this season?
I did not play AAU, but I played high
Okay,
school
okay. I
basketball.
think right
That's
when
what it,
you should have been doing AAU is when you started blowing up, or like you started like,
yeah. As soon as basketball season ended, that's when my
and
bounce
that's
just
when you
went
could
through the
really
roof.
prioritize your dunking and not have to do basketball. And I think
And
that's
my
perfect.
CNS just wasn't cooked all the time.
Exactly, exactly,
But
exactly.
yeah, I mean, obviously, I made quite a bit of progress. You made a ton of progress with like your trick dunks and stuff. Like you were barely windmilling, not barely, but like you were not windmilling consistently, and now it's like guaranteed every session.
Oh yeah,
Basically, made a
yeah.
ton of progress on your East Bays, made a ton of progress on your 360s. Gideon, first few sessions, I was very impressed by his jumping, but his technique was like laughable, bro. Like he brought his arms like way up here,
I think low key,
and
I remember roasting him about it our first
oh
session.
yeah,
I think I
we
did.
both did. We everyone did, bro.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was just funny, but at the same time he's jumping 46. So it's
yeah.
like we're like laughing, but not because he's bad, just because his technique was hilarious. But then by the time we got to like October, I think just him jumping and having like more dedicated jump sessions, he was first of all jumping way higher, and then he started hitting dunks like East Bay behind the back. He was starting to get close to like 360 East Bay. He had a hide and seek, like for the shortest person ever to do a hide and seek. That was ridiculous.
Seeing that live in person was like I couldn't even comprehend it. And then the next day I was still like watching it over and over and over, and it's like,
No,
oh,
yeah, it was insane, bro. I did not expect him to hit it because I'd seen him try it so many times, but then it was just everything was perfect. It was just
that
like,
session in
oh,
general was a really fun session.
yeah, yeah, it was. But yeah, I mean, he's improved so much. I mean, a couple weeks ago, maybe it was last week. Obviously, I was in the contest with him, and that was like my first time where I was like, I had always thought of him as a really good jumper and a pretty good dunker, but that contest made me realize like this dude could be a pro within 6 months. And obviously, the rim was a little bit low; it was like 9.899, but he punched a 360 East Bay. He had an under both, and his arm was like here, so
Yeah.
like he could have made it. I've seen him get very close on 10 before. And so that made me realize like this dude could literally be doing contests. And what makes him so unique is he does everything off dribble and he's 5'9", which is unheard of, and especially with the dunks he's doing. So I think
He
he
doesn't
was
train like
probably
that. He doesn't train like that.
no, and he's like he's I'd say he's the most improved probably. And then obviously Jason turned 52, still dunking, even better than ever. So that's
Yeah.
been super inspiring to see. Other Jason unfortunately moved away, but you know he's killing it out in wherever he is. I don't remember if he's in LA
Dude, he kind of just
or
like drifts where the
DMV.
wind blows.
Yeah, but yeah, he's been killing it too. Ow! I just punched my table somehow. But Johan, um, was getting really good at one point. Like he was doing 360s at that one outdoor session we had,
Mhm,
and then he
yeah.
kind of stopped dunking very much as much. But I've seen him. Can't remember the last time I saw him, but he can still dunk, and I think that if he came back, he'd be pretty good, pretty quick again. Um, Rich, I don't know if you remember Rich. He dunked with me one time. He never dunked with our group, but
Oh,
he'll be
okay.
back very soon. I'm gonna be dunking with him on Wednesday, hopefully, and then
Oh wait,
maybe
I
he'll
think I
come
remember
on
him just
Saturday.
on. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he has. He's just been super busy, but he has. I guess he hasn't like improved a ton, but it's just because he hasn't been dunking. So then obviously Will has just been insane the entire time. Hunter, part-time member, 50 new dunks,
Yeah,
ridiculous.
I
So
don't even know what the official number is, but yeah, it was what I counted was a 60 plus. That's what I
yeah,
counted.
yeah.
Going back
So
and looking through all the videos, like it's just crazy. I like if you would have told me I would have done this 2 years ago, I wouldn't have believed a single thing. Like my progression has been actually like absurd. Like
yeah, bro.
it's just I just still can't comprehend it. Obviously, Dylan's progress has been crazy. Obviously, Justin, you've been kind of going crazy from what I've been seeing. Obviously, you're still working on a ton of stuff, so which is exciting. But I mean, like everybody in the community has just been getting so freaking good, and it's just been so exciting to watch, just because everybody's falling in love, like more in love with the sport, and we're trying to obviously push out
Yeah,
it as a sport, and it's just really exciting to watch and see everybody's progression from their first dunks to windmills or from east base to under bolts and whatever. Like it's just exciting to
yeah,
see everything kind of come to play. So
yeah. I got one connection with that, then we can sort of wrap up. But like, I think that a huge reason for all that progress that I've made, that you've made, that Gideon has made, that the whole group has made, that Justin's made, the whole dunk community, I think one of the biggest reasons that that has happened is because of these dunk groups and like the bigger like connection as a community. We are pushing ourselves. We are like with each other and we're getting to see each other dunk. And I think that that adrenaline just pushes people a ton. And like dunking with other people has helped me learn so much. I know like I've taught Gideon a lot. Like I think that like just teaching Gideon like small things made him insane. And like obviously he did the work, but like being able to like give small tips to everyone has been super fun for me because personally, especially when the group started, I was insane, like technical wise on low rims, but I was not jumping super high. So that's kind of that was like kind of where I found like my joy in the dunk group was like I was able to help the other people. And now obviously I'm getting a bit better. But yeah, that's just like the super cool thing about it is like we're all able to help each other because we all have different experiences in dunking and in life. Like, you know, Jason 52, like he teaches us tons of cool stuff. So I
He's the
mean,
sports mentor. He's the sports
yeah,
mentor.
bro.
Be
And
mentoring.
so yeah, the community is just growing so much, and I'm super excited to see what is next for dunk groups. There's a lot of talk about it, especially with the WDA talking about, you know, more competitions and stuff like that, like in-person events. We'll just have to see what happens, but I'm super excited. Obviously, props to Justin for creating one of the first dunk clubs. Really appreciate you coming on. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
no
dude, it's
problem,
been
man.
got
fun.
got one more thing to add on to what Dylan was saying before we
Go
leave,
for
but
it.
I think another thing that kind of helped a lot of people progress was those contests that we had online because that
Oh yeah,
also pushed a lot of people to try new things. And obviously we had a little fun with it with like the costumes and stuff, but I mean, there's people that were like, I forgot what our hardest dunk was. I think it was East Bays, and like there were some people that just couldn't East Bay, but then all of a sudden they're trying East Bays for the first time ever. Just like that's what it's all about. Like, yeah, you
yeah.
can't East Bay right now, but also now that kind of made them try it so that they could get it
Gives you
later down
something
the
to aim
line.
for, yeah.
Exactly. So it kind of
Yeah.
made it everybody push themselves a little bit for the dunk contests, which I obviously like and obviously I think would be a good idea to bring back. But obviously with people's schedules, it's kind of hard as we kind of figured. Um, but yeah, I think that's definitely another
Yeah.
big thing that helped a lot of people.
Yeah, and I'm super glad. I wouldn't have thought of this, that the contests were not just like broad, like, you know, oh, well, this week, you know, show us your best dunk. And then they like focused on specific things. Like, I can't remember all of them, but like one of them was like off the lob, one of them was two-hand finish. And I think that that pushed a ton of people to try new things because, like, you know, sure, you can do an East Bay, but if you want to win this contest, you might have to do an East Bay two-hander, you know? So like it really pushed people to like try new things, and it was super cool to see. So yeah, exactly,
I
I
mean,
think
bro.
it
that's where I
definitely.
hit my. What was that, Justin?
I was gonna say, I think it definitely provided motivation to try new stuff, like you said. And I will say, like, just the dunking community in general is probably one of the most supportive communities to be a part of. Because literally
I can't name a more
everybody wants
supportive community, bro.
everybody to succeed. And it's like if my opponent, like if I can push my opponent to be better, then it's also going to push me to be better because I need to beat my opponent. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
it makes everybody try harder, which is
Yeah.
also
I
the
think
whole point,
a
so.
huge reason that we're so supportive of each other is because we all want dunking to be something in the future that is a job. Like I want dunking to be my job. Same way, kids want to be an NBA player. Like that is like how I feel about dunking. And I think that if it's like if I just thought like, oh, it's all about me, like I need to be the best, that's not helpful. Like it helps me, but at the end of the day, I'm not making money. So how are we going to create this into like, a paying job? And I think that pushing each other and be getting like all of us super good at not only dunking, but at training and at social media, like that's one of my biggest goals. Like I don't even care at this point. Like I used to just want to be the best, but like as I've over the past year, I've realized like my biggest thing that I want to do is just help everyone else get better at their technique, at their training, but then also teach people how to make money as a dunker. And that's something that I've kind of done a little bit. Like I helped Hunter with his social media a bit. I helped a couple other people with their editing. And like that is what is going to push this community to be huge. And I'm just super excited to see how it goes. Yeah.
Awesome.
But yeah, I really appreciate you coming on again, Justin.
Oh
Great
yeah, no
talk
problem.
about
That was a great time.
dunk
Yes, sir.
teams. Yeah, super, super hyped for next time we can get you to come out here. Maybe I'll pull up to Winona. I've been definitely wanting to come again.
No,
And I
you
think
guys are more than welcome to pop out.
Bro, I
Hunter
need to
been
get on
thinking
that
about it
nine
too.
ten floppy rim, please.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
floppy room. Yeah, the
I saw
floppy
Dylan
room.
punching on that. I'm like, yep, it's my time.
Yeah. Maybe even take it
Yeah.
home with you, man. Maybe even take it home with
Please, I
you.
will. If I break a rim, I'll pay for it and
Dude,
I'll
I'm
gladly take that
gladly
home.
signing the check if that thing is.
Yes, please,
Yep,
dude.
yep. No,
If
yeah.
I ever
Yeah.
break a rim or backboard, bro, sign me up. I'll gladly pay for
Oh,
that.
for
Like
sure, for
that's a
sure.
goal of mine,
Exactly.
ripping off the rim, bro. Like,
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I'll definitely be in touch with both of you about that. We gotta make that happen. But
yes,
again,
sir.
appreciate both of you coming on here. Make sure to stay tuned for the next podcast. Leave a 5-star review on Apple, leave a 5-star review on Spotify, subscribe, leave a comment if you're on YouTube. And yeah, appreciate you guys.
Yes, sir.
See y'all later.
Peace.
Right, sweet.